Okay, I'm going to be going over the vacuum hose arrangement on the iTech. It can be kind of intimidating and troublesome. I'm going to start over here with this smog pump situation because I'm not really going to be getting into that so far as disassembling. So you've got the smog pump vacuum is pulled from this port right here on the intake. It runs across here and comes up here right into the front of this vacuum switching valve. Coming out of the back, comes across the middle of that arrangement there, runs down to this diaphragm on the vacuum pump. The other one runs up
to
here and runs to the top of that. That's the vacuum for the smog pump. This is the vacuum switching valve on the fender well. This is the air switching valve for the smog pump, and you can see they show that this vacuum line comes in here to the front, and then at that T the other one comes off, and then off the back the other one comes off there. Okay, we've got the brake booster vacuum. This port right here is used primarily for the evaporator case. You do have a T on this one. This is where you would hook the cruise control if you had it. Okay, this thing right here is for fast idle, and you've got your thermal vacuum valve right here. This hose right here provides constant vacuum. Now this is it runs through this valve here, over to here, through this bracket, over to here, to the fast idle solenoid. This comes on when you click your AC on. Anytime the AC compressor kicks on, this valve will open, allowing more air into the plenum. That's all that does, is it bumps the idle, essentially, to offset the load from the AC. This one down here is activated when the engine is running hot. Typically I've experienced this when you get low on water and there's steam in the system. This switch right here will kick on and off, and it runs right over here, and all it does is the exact same thing. It'll allow extra air into the plenum, bumping the idle, and typically you'll get like a rum, 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 like an on-off oscillating high idle with that. This is the vacuum line, comes off of the intake over to the thermal valve, over to the fast idle solenoid and back, and then this is that jumper that I was telling you that'll rev if the engine's got steam in it. I'm gonna get this one off. Looks like somebody's epoxied this, so I'm gonna try to be really careful. These are known for breaking. They're very brittle.
To the motor.
That's the AC fast idle solenoid stuff. I got 1/4 inch for that. Now we've got this EGR hose from the blue nipple here up to this one right here. This runs under the plenum and comes up right here, that metal line, and then comes up. You'll have the other side come out to the EGR.
What is?
And then right here you have exhaust gas will run up to here and come under to the bottom of the back pressure transducer. So basically the way this works is there's vacuum provided to this right here, and when you get back pressure from the exhaust, it opens this and allows vacuum to the EGR diaphragm. It opens the EGR and allows exhaust gases that come in from that metal tube that runs up from under here. You've got this huge metal line that runs up and screws into the bottom of the intake. That's the exhaust gas that's coming in from over here. This tube runs along the back screws in to the bottom of the iTech right here, and then it allows that, when this diaphragm opens, it allows those gases into the common chamber. It's supposed to help cool combustion temperatures. The vacuum port on the bottom of the throttle comes over. This is that blue, baby blue thermal vacuum valve. This is that metal hard line that runs underneath to the back pressure transducer, and then the vacuum line over to the EGR valve. Maybe. Okay. Okay, this second port here runs out up to the top here, across, and into this vacuum switching valve right here on the top. Okay, and this is the yellow one referring to here, coming out of the front of the plenum over to this switching valve. So then this other hose here comes off and runs over to the top of the fuel pressure regulator, and if you've got a later model iTech with it here, then the hose will run from here over to there. Okay, right here we've got a one-way check valve. This is the vapor from the fuel tank that runs up into the charcoal canister. This one here, this is the purge for the charcoal canister, and it runs right up into the port right here. It's a very large vacuum port on the iTech. That's where that one goes. And then this one is the one that actually activates this diaphragm to open that discharge. It runs up here through this setting over here. It's the third one down in this assortment. It runs over and it runs to the side of this vacuum switching valve right here. Comes into the side right there. Okay, and that's showing you here from the fuel tank to that check relief valve, and then the vacuum switching valve, and then the purge that goes into the intake there. 7:30 seconds for that one right there. Vapor line, and hook it up on that hose right next to it, right there. Okay, now you see that this is referring to vacuum ports on the bottom side of your throttle. So on the bottom of this, there are two ports that stick out the bottom, and that's what these are referring to right here. This one right here will come down to this F connector, and this is the blue thermal vacuum valve. Okay, so this hose basically runs from the bottom of that under the iTech, comes out right here, hits this F connector right here, and then they run up. One's on the top and one's on the bottom in this connector. They come up through here, run through this, and one comes in here, and the other comes in the front on the bottom here. And that's displayed right here. You get this one coming up, goes to this vacuum switching valve that also goes to the fuel pressure regulator, and the other one comes off that F and comes up over here to the one that activates the charcoal canister. This is where the other hose that runs off of the throttle down to here will connect to here, and then the other side will come off of here and come up to here. Okay, so I've got the plenum off now, and you can see these hoses a lot clearer. This one goes down to the F connector, and this one right here runs down to the blue, that baby blue thermal vacuum valve right there. And then I got 6 feet of 5/30 seconds to do all these others, all this stuff here that plugs in here and here. And this one needs to run down and attach onto that blue thermal vacuum valve right there. So I'll cut that. This one right here will hook on here. And it's going to come down here to that little F connector that'll hang out right about here. Got the F connector here. That'll hang out right in there. So these are cracked and brittle here. So I'll go ahead and replace this section here. Let's put a new piece on there. Place this one. It's pretty cracked up. Okay, so I'm basically just going to be following my diagram here to remind myself where these go. It comes off of here and over to the switching vacuum valve. Okay, this one's going to come off the F connector. And go to the other side of that, which is here. Okay, this one will go to the other F connector. So we'll cut a new piece for that.
Home Alone, it used to have a big one of these.
Oh yeah? That right there, that'll go to the front of the plenum right there. These are all, yeah, not too great. I'll cut some of this stuff down. This is the hose that goes down to the idle air control valve, which opens when it's cold to like create a choke type situation. I'm gonna go ahead and spray some carb cleaner down in there just to free that up, make that thing work clearly. All right, so I've got this big hose here that comes out of the bottom of the idle air control valve. I'm gonna get it right there where it goes. Okay, so what I've just done is reconnected this the hose that goes from here, from the top of the throttle, down to the idle air control valve. It comes out of the bottom of the idle air control valve and then connects to the plenum right here. That big hose with that hose clamp. Okay, so I got the intake back on. All the hoses and everything are redone as necessary. And she's ready to go.